Welcome to this week's episode of the Jim and Shelby Show, All Things Print Podcast. I'm Jim Raffle, joined as always.
And I'm Shelby Sapusik. How are you today, Jim?
I'm great. So we're getting towards the end of the year, and
We are.
we are going to have kind of a mini episode that we're gonna sneak in the middle here, and it's Shelby at the GPX Charlotte show, which was a
Correct.
relatively small show, and she did a great episode solo because I was somewhere again. She's getting used to doing these. It's going to become the Shelby show pretty soon, I think, but
It's not. It's
no. But what I thought when I saw it is like, this is great, but we need more. And so it occurred to me that what we could do is we could talk a little bit about our experience with trade shows in 2024. So let's kind of all get that frame of mind, and we'll think about that for a few minutes while we watch Shelby's GPX experience in Charlotte. Here we go.
Welcome to this episode of the Jim and Shelby Show, All Things Print Podcast. I am here in Charlotte for GPX Expo, and we're going to go inside and see what we can see and talk to a few people, hopefully. So, as I said, we are at Charlotte GPX, and like other GPX shows, you're going to see a lot of direct-to-film, direct-to-fabric, screen printing, stitch and sew, a lot of blanks. Over here, you'll see some mugs. We do have some vinyl wrap going on here. This show's one of the smaller GPX shows, in my opinion, but I see a lot of repeat vendors. There's some decor going on. You can definitely get blanks for shirts and awards, patches. But we also have some of our friends here from like PDS Equipment and Mamaki, and I'm going to try to talk to one of those people while I'm here. Very cool addition. They have this GPX University booth now, and I don't remember if this was here 2 years ago, but they have other rooms outside of the show floor where they do education, but now they have this entire booth where they're showing people how to use heat presses and how to do stitch and sew. So those are very cool as well. Okay. Well, I found my good friend Michael Guest from PDS Equipment at Charlotte GPX, and I was talking to Bill earlier. You were busy with customers, which I love to see. I heard you've been selling some machines.
Yes.
But Bill was telling me that you have a new machine, so I was hoping that you could tell me about it.
We do. What we have here is by the way, we just printed that on this machine. Very nice. So this is our JFX 200 1213 EX. It is very comparable to our JFX 200 2513, but it's half the bed size. So our JFX 200 1213 is a 4x4 print bed. Our head travels 2 inches this way, so we can print on media up to 2 inches thick. We have onboard white. We have the onboard clear, so we can do all our fun, crazy effects like this. What people love about this machine is it's fast, but it is a smaller footprint, so we can fit this in a lot of areas where our big machine won't go, but it will do all the things that the big machine will do. We can print Braille on this machine. So you've got, and that is ADA Braille, ADA approved Braille. But what people love about this machine is when we're printing stuff like this, the complaint we have on our big machine is they can't reach everywhere. But this format, we've got the speed of the big machine, but we've got the portability and the floor footprint that's smaller, and we can reach everywhere on the bed. So this is really ideal to do this kind of stuff. And it will do everything. All our machines will do everything you see on this bed. We printed on the machine, except the hat. We didn't print on that. We did print on the hat patch and press it onto the head. In fact, we've got, there's just one of our blank hat patches that we can press onto a hat. And the reason these are packaged is because Strike King is actually a customer of ours that has Mamaki printers printing on their lures with our printers.
When is your big fishing show? That's in July, right?
Yeah, down the ICAST show in Florida. Yes.
Yep. Cool.
So
Well, thank you.
what I like about this guy again is the accessibility. You can reach everywhere on the bed.
Awesome.
So brand new, we just rolled it out. We're pretty excited about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you
All right.
as always.
Okay, I'm back from Charlotte and I'm back in Colorcaster South in Greensboro, North Carolina. Had a great time for the one day I was there at Charlotte GPX. I think this is the last trade show that we're going to attend this year, but we're getting ready to look at 2025 shows. So keep an eye on our events page on our website, colorcasters.com, so that you can find out what shows we're going to attend. And if you're interested in meeting up with us, email me at shelby@colorcasters.com. Until next time, this is Shelby for the Jim and Shelby Show.
So as you can see, it was a short episode for Charlotte GPX, and that's because the show was so small. I will say it was difficult to try to find people to talk to because SEMA out in Las Vegas was going on at the same exact time. So most of the crews were out in Las Vegas for the SEMA show, and the people who were at Charlotte GPX were working with maybe 2 to 3 people tops at each booth. And so it was well attended, but trying to find time to record with people when they weren't with customers was pretty difficult. I think I waited 20 to 30 minutes to get Michael on the podcast. And at that point, I just didn't want to keep interrupting people because it was busy. And it was busier because they were kind of short staffed, because they moved that trade show.
So the other thing I noticed is that I went to one GPX with you this year, if I'm not mistaken, and I went to Impressions. And then I think you did a GPX or two on your own. And yours might be blending together here because that's what happens. But my impression is that in general, the smaller shows are tougher for a company our size to get the kind of traction we need at. We typically won't have a booth, and without a booth, you don't necessarily get to talk to the right people or enough people. And so I think what you're going to find in 2025 as opposed to 24 is, while I'm not saying we won't go to a GPX here and an Impressions there, I think you're going to see our focus being 3 main events: Printing United, ISA Sign Expo, and our continued support of the UV Energize event in Nashville.
Right.
And you know what? For a company our size, those 3 are a pretty significant commitment as a percentage of our year. Considering that we make our money primarily through doing training programs and consulting. And so, showing up at trade shows where we aren't necessarily billing, although there's cases where we do, it can be tricky. So if you see us less in 25 at trade shows, it really just means that we're out hopefully billing more, and we're going to be focusing our efforts more on for us, what are the big 3? Again, Printing United, ISA Sign Expo, and UV Energize. So
I agree. We did some divide and conquer so that we could try to attend some of the smaller shows. I think there was at least 2 that I went to that you did not this year. And all of that is well and good, but there's also only so much you can do. And we can't go to shows instead of doing consulting work. And, there's cost involved, and that's just kind of how it is when you're a smaller company.
Well, and Peter Drucker talked about this. He's a management consultant guy who's passed away now, but he always said you have to figure out what you're not going to do so you can do other things. And in I think our case, we've made a strategic decision, and it's no secret at this point. We're going to focus much more on the training side of our business. I mean, you've seen the online version of Confident Color. We launched the next what's the right word? The next workshop in that series, the AI and Color workshop, came out just recently, and there's more. We have more on the planning table for that, and so by maybe attending a few less regional shows and focusing on the major shows, we'll have more time to work on improving and growing the online learning content. So we're a small company, and we got to be flexible and fast on our feet. So.
But you never know, some of this training could start to be wrapped up into shows, and then that will change the game for us too. So we'll just see how it pans out.
I mean, part of doing what we do is being fast and flexible. And so what our plan is today is if we came back and watched this episode in a year, we'd probably have a pretty good laugh. All right. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of the Jim and Shelby Show. We'll see you next week.